Militant's own Michael Voris to talk about some of those issues in today's Daily Beat.
All right, thanks, James. With all the Trump mania sweeping the GOP right now, there are a number of issues that the former president is going to have to get nailed down before taking office again. That and much more coming right up. Welcome to the Daily Beat. I'm your host, Michael Voris. A quick reminder, we're going to be answering some of your questions live just a little bit later in today's Daily Beat, as our hosts are monitoring those chats right now. So get your questions in. Also, we're going to be checking in on today's social media beats a little later, and it's actually pretty funny. Stick around for that. We've all heard the news about the weaponization of the Justice Department under Biden, but there is more to know about all of this, and unfortunately, it does not reflect all that well on Donald Trump. On the campaign trail in 2016, Trump correctly identified the business-as-usual Leviathan in Washington, D.C. when he made calls to drain the swamp.
That is I said that about a week ago, and I didn't like it that much.
While he was spot on that the swamp needed draining, once he got into the Oval Office, it became painfully clear he didn't really know how to accomplish that. The first few months of his term were tumultuous, with a revolving door being on the Oval Office with multiple advisors coming and going at record speed. It became apparent that Trump had no real idea who was competent among his advisors, as well as who he could trust, at least not to any sufficient degree, to actually get that swamp drained. He did highlight the evil in D.C., good for him, but once he shined the light on it, nothing else really happened. Perhaps his greatest area of failure, one he will absolutely have to clean up instantly if he runs and wins in 2024, is the U.S. Justice Department. Biden has his Gestapo firmly entrenched at justice, including the FBI, but Trump did nothing of substance to clean that place up. The topic is making headlines now more frequently, as you can see right here. This one, just out today in Breitbart, released this story, said the FBI and DOJ have become the enforcement arm of the Democratic Party. Here's another one, just from today. This just came in. The FBI is now the Federal Bureau of Intimidation. This one from Real Clear Politics. There is something to be said for having some experience and knowledge about the lay of the land when you arrive in D.C. as an outsider. For example, while Trump made accurate claims that Obama spied on him in his campaign, which he did next to nothing once becoming president to go after all of that. Owing to his appointments based on advice from his handpicked counselors, he set the stage for the Justice Department and the FBI to eventually come after him like they did last month. He should have completely cleaned the house the moment he took his hand off the Bible on January 20th, 2017. But he was green, and it showed. We saw even more of that early on in the pandemic in bringing in Anthony Fauci and Deborah Birx for the White House COVID task force. Both of them have since admitted they ran the show and had Trump wrapped around their little fingers. It's difficult to think of Trump in terms of being naive, but from the outside, that sure is what it looks like. Even some of his campaign endorsements this midterm cycle make loyalists kind of scratch their heads, like, why did he back that person? Contrast all this with Biden and his cronies. It's like a successful precision bombing raid. Merrick Garland, the jilted Obama Supreme Court nominee, is appointed U.S. Attorney General by Biden. He, in turn, brings on a high-level counselor who is married to a White House security advisor who is a former Hillary campaign staffer who pushed the phony Russia narrative. Garland appoints as his deputy attorney general a Bill Clinton and Obama White House advisor who ran one of the most prestigious Democratic Party consulting firms in D.C. And at the FBI, Christopher Wray appointed a longtime Democratic operative as his chief of staff. He's the guy who essentially runs the FBI. In short, before Biden had taken his hypocritical hand off the Bible, he had already set about to create the most partisan Department of Justice in the history of the nation. So, you want to know why Trump's Mar-a-Lago got raided? Why parents were declared domestic terrorists by Garland for just protesting perverted books in the school libraries? why 24 armed agents raided pro-life Catholic author Mark Hoke's house and arrested him for a year-old minor infraction that had already been thrown out of court, why a bevy of former Trump advisors and counselors were also raided in their homes, why no warrants have been issued or even investigations opened in multiple attacks on pro-life pregnancy centers, and on and on and on. It's because Biden and his cronies understand the stakes, the GOP doesn't care, and Trump was caught completely flat-footed and didn't do anything near enough when he had the power to do so. Because apparently all that talk of draining the swamp was just campaign rally material. If Trump runs again and he wins, he really needs to come out guns blazing, meaning firing everyone he can, appointing actual patriots who kick down doors with search warrants, make arrests, put them on trial, and throw some butts in jail. And that includes Obama and Hillary. Remember this little gem from the debates that brought down the House?
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.